สวัสดีค่ะ My name is ชยานุชวีรสาร from Faculty of Informatics มหาสารคาม University Thailand. I'm proud to introduce my research under the topic The Loss of ASTV Channel on Political Socialization, a case study of ASTV channel audiences in Mahasarakam. With this video clip, please enjoy.
When the People Alliance for Democracy start the rally by bringing the people who are against the government of Thaksin Shinawatra at that moment. The government at the time was very powerful and they literally control every mainstream media. Despite the fact that the rally has attracted tens of thousands of people, certain times it reached over 100,000 people, the mainstream media still refused to cover the story as they should be, simply because they have been under the domination and the authoritative power of the existing government of Thaksin Shinawatra at that time. So when we move the people and then we create what we call the civil disobedience by getting into the government house and stay there for 193 days, we figure out that since there is no media presentation of what we are doing and what we're doing is actually legitimate, we're against corruption, we're against the abuse of power, and we're against various malpractices, abuse of power of the Thaksin government. So we decided that since the Thaksin government has fallen and he fled the country after the coup, and then he has sent his nominee, which is Mr. Samak Suntharawet, and later on when Mr. Samak has been forced out of the premiership simply because of the constitutional court has ruled that Mr. Samak can no longer become the prime minister because of his illegal activities in the past. So Thaksin has promoted his brother-in-law, Mr. Somchai Wongsawat, to become another prime minister. And we were actually contemplate how are we going to let the Thai society knows what we're doing. So ASTV is a cable TV, it's a satellite TV, it's not under the government regulations, although the number of the people who are actually viewing ASTV is quite small comparing to the mainstream TV. But by broadcasting the rally, the protests live, and on a 24-hour basis, that literally attracts more and more people who would be interested in the rally and the protests, and they are beginning to realize what we were doing, while the mainstream press refused to cover the story, despite the fact that every day we have speeches and we have evidences which show that the existing government, which is the nominee government of Thaksin Shinawatra, has done so many things wrong and has done so many illegal activities against the constitution. By broadcasting 24 hours a day for the period of 193 days since we have actually start broadcasting, the viewers also discover the violent attitude of the government, and the government has utilized some crooks and some hooligans, and some of them are the army officers or police officers undercover who actually harassing people, including using lethal weapons like the M79 shooting at the rally, and that is a result of a few deaths. And later on, when the people want to exercise their rights by protesting in front of the government, in front of the parliament on the 7th of October, when the Somchai Wongsawat government want to convene the parliament in order to pass a law, to amend the constitution to vindicate Thaksin's guilt. The people at the government house, the protests, decided it's time to stage a protest in front of the parliament. So we went to the parliament without knowing that they have actually prepared a violent action against it. So they utilized the police and then bombarded us with tear gas. And the fact is that the tear gas that they used were the Chinese tear gas, which is out of date, and it's very lethal. And as a result, close to 10 people died from the tear gas bomb, and then thousands injured, and probably 20 or 30 people crippled, lost part of their bodies, arms, legs, and so what? So this is the reason, the reason that we have put up the broadcasting for 24 hours signifies and reflects that there's actually something is happening, and it also signifies and reflects that the mainstream media in any society cannot actually dare to broadcast the true events. So ASTV has actually fulfilled the vacuum which the mainstream media didn't do it.
These findings show that the relationships between media openness, political socialization, and demographic characteristics are consistent. In other words, media openness and political socialization do not depend on gender and education level. Both genders can similarly receive news and learn about politics. It cannot be identified that which gender can learn more, although most people who participate in the PAD's rally in Bangkok are female. It cannot be concluded female participants are interested in politics more than male participants, because the awareness, attitudes, and participation of the men who do not participate in the rally cannot be identified. Similarly, the findings show that education level has no relationship with media openness and political socialization. In other words, it doesn't mean that people who have low education level cannot learn politics nor have no political knowledge. By receiving news from televisions instead of newspaper, the people who have low education level can learning politics, especially from ASTV channel, same as those who have high education level. This issue can reveal many research results indicating that newspaper media openness has positive correlation with public affairs more than television media openness. One research found that the correlation between the space of news provided in newspaper and the remembered contents of news is stronger than the correlation between the news reporting periods on television and the remembered contents of the news. The findings of this research indicate that if television media reports qualitative news as in newspaper and audiences regularly receive news, then they will be able to learn politics without having to read newspapers. Interesting issue. Number 1. The audiences 18 to 25 years who are students and have income 5,000 to 10,000 baht have less media openness as compared to other people who have different age, occupations, and incomes. This can be concluded that the people aged 18 to 25 years lack of interest in politics, as can be seen from their political awareness and political attitudes. Mostly, Their answer in the questionnaires are not sure. This is consistent with the concept of knowledge gap that explains about education by giving an example of the respondents of the research answering do not know. This answer is similar to not sure. This can be summarized that the people who have less media openness don't have much political knowledge. Number 2. It's found that the people aged more than 55 years have the highest political awareness, followed by the people aged 46 to 55 years. This indicates that old people have more interest in political news than other people because most of them don't have to work or resign from their jobs. Therefore, they have more time to receive political news and think that politics directly affects their lives. Number 3. The issue of ASTV channel audiences who have different education levels similarly have medium level of political awareness indicates that education level has no effect on political awareness. The researcher considers that official education isn't an obstacle for recognizing politics. The mentioned finding isn't consistent with the hypothesis of knowledge gap, predicting that the people having higher education level will learn faster than those having lower education level. There are obstacles for political awareness that are the quality and contents of news. That is, if people aren't aware of political news, then media will only report some parts of the news. Number 4. In terms of occupation, the group of people who are housemates has the highest level of political awareness, followed by the group of agriculturists and designated government officers. It is also found that these groups of people have quite high frequency of receiving news. Therefore, they can remember more contents of the news reported on ASTV channel than other groups. Number 5. In terms of income, it is found that the people who have income higher than 40,000 baht have the highest levels of political awareness. These groups of people have a similar reason for watching ASTV channel. The reason is they don't support Thaksin Shinawatra. This can be summarized that people having high income think that Thaksin system affects their life and national security that will eventually affect their incomes. The findings of political awareness indicate that behavior of regularly receiving news from ASTV channel with or without reading newspapers and receiving news from other media make the audiences to have more political knowledge or high level of political awareness. This awareness is caused by watching the programs of ASTV channel for 193 days. The rally broadcast for 193 days hasn't been done by any television media. Also, the findings can refute the beliefs and other research findings indicating that newspapers provide more qualitative news, that other media and newspaper readers can remember more content and knowledge about public affairs than television watchers. ASTV channel proved that it can provide qualitative information and broadcast live rally that can clearly show the real situations. In terms of political attitudes, ASTV channel has roles in changing its audience's attitudes. In other words, some audience might support or has neutral attitude towards Thaksin Shinawatra before watching ASTV channel. After receiving facts about Thaksin Shinawatra for a long time, they started comparing the facts from ASTV channel and that from other media and agreeing with that from ASTV channel. Eventually, their feeling and attitude toward Thaksin Shinawatra are changed while their attitudes toward PAD become more positive. This is consistent with the concept of the influence of mass media on people's opinions and politicians' images. That news is part of political images. Therefore, people currently are influenced by the mass media. Also, the mass media have influence on media opinions. After some audiences who have negative attitudes towards Thaksin Shinawatra receive the information from ASTV channel, their attitudes become more negative. This is similar to the concept of Key, who stated that the important influence of mass media on political attitudes confirms the exciting attitudes. Partly, this is because people usually are interested in mass media if the information provided by the media is relevant to their thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes. On the other hand, they will not be interested in mass media if the information isn't relevant to them.
เราตัดทุกอย่างทิ้งชอบไม่สำคัญเกลียดขี้หน้าสนที่ไม่เป็นไร
The laws of ASTV channel about political socialization are part of political awareness and attitude, while other political participation such as political rallies, political symbolism activities, and opinion expression aren't enough. The people discussing about politics show that they are active in receiving political news and discussing about politics. Consequently, they are in the group that can be easily affected by politics. It is found that the number of Mahasarakam people watching ASTV channel is low. Thus, the channel don't have important laws about political socialization of those people, especially political movements as compared to other provinces in Thailand.
สนามบินแห่งนี้แตะไปที่ไหนมีแต่ความสกปรกโสมมทั้งนั้นมันคืออนุสาวรีย์ของความชั่วช้าของนักการเมืองขายชาติปล้นแผ่นดิน
If you want to ask me whether ASTV has created any change in society as its role in the 193 days protest, the answer is yes and no. Yes, because for the first time that we have multiple numbers, millions of people who have not seen what's happening finally watching ASTV through their cable network. And no, because the change of the attitude of people are still being blockaded by the existing mainstream TVs, which refuse to cover the stories even during the time that the government has used violence against it. They will simply cover the story as is or as it was without bringing up the background of the story to date as to why we were slaughtered by the police and why did we protest. They were actually covering the main event without telling the people the historical background of the protests, which is very sad, because had they been doing the job that they have done, that they should have done, the more people in the society would realize why we were protesting and why the government has agreed or has decided to use violent means to suppress the people. So in that case, I don't think ASTV would affect the changes in the society in a big way, but it does affect the change in society in a certain ways that there are more and more people beginning to see ASTV as an alternative media, and the people who want to find the truth without being fabricated by the government mainstream media, they are finally looking into ways and means to take a look at ASTV as the alternative media. That's also including the website, which also broadcasting the event, and they simply hook up the signals from ASTV too. So the answer is again yes and no.
Thank you for watching me and สวัสดีค่ะ